And we are live. Hi guys, how you doing? Welcome to the show. This is our regular Tuesday chat with me, Nick, and my good friends are here. How you doing?
Hi everybody, yeah, I'm doing well. Just a bit chilly, but apart from that, um, doing okay.
It is bitterly cold. I've got a heater right underneath me here.
Oh, you have to. And but the thing is, like I said to you the other day, once you get a smart meter fitted, you're going to be careful using an electric heater because,
Yeah.
man alive, the difference it makes to your daily spend is huge. So I'm opting for the tracksuit bottoms under the jeans. So
I'm
it's
surprised we never got one because you know us, we're pretty frugal and tight.
careful, it's
But,
just smart, really. But
yeah, we never got one, so I need to
I
send off.
yeah, definitely. It will make you reevaluate how much because the amount of times we just don't even think about things like that, and it's definitely worth doing, definitely worth keeping an
To be
eye out
fair,
on.
no matter what this heater would be costing me
Yeah,
right now, I'd still have it on.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean there are situations where you would just have it on, but yeah, um,
Yeah, I need
definitely.
to do that. Let me just scroll back. I'm pretty sure it was Peter. Yeah, Peter was first in. So hi there, Bumcrack Picker, always an early bird as well.
Sorry,
Karen,
still
Karen,
makes me
you're
laugh.
still laughing at that name.
I am.
We've got Karen and
I think it's because I say BCP and you because otherwise if I say bomb crack pick,
I go the full Bumcrack.
yeah, you do, which is good, which is good.
Who else? We got Callum's in there. So hello everybody, welcome to the show. We do have a bit of a theme. We were chatting yesterday, and you brought up the topic of are we entrepreneurs? What is an entrepreneur as a general theme? And we
Yeah,
thought we'd use that as a bouncing off point and see where we go with it. So that's the plan. Let me just
yeah,
scroll down. Lots of people popping in. We've got Matt and Panzer, Jason, Indie Chick. Hi there, guys.
keeping it
Ishtar,
real with the Millers.
keeping it real with the Millers. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great name that is as well.
They
Yeah,
say hello. Finally got you live. Yes, you are live. We can see your comments. If you've got any questions or messages, just pop them in the side chat. Yeah.
yeah.
Where do we begin? Are you,
Well,
are you an entrepreneur? There you go, Zaheer.
see, I think it's an interesting question because at the moment I don't think I am. I think that um I've just employed myself, but it's like a job at the moment because eBay is such an important part of our income. Like it's basically like 95%, I'd say. The other 5% is probably what we bring in with Amazon FBA or whatever because it is that small. Um, I'd say that where eBay is like our job, because to bring in the income that we need to be constantly working on it. So I don't feel necessarily
But just
that.
because it's your job, it doesn't mean you're not being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur still has to earn a living.
Yeah, I know, but I think that with an entrepreneur, that my idea, I mean, my idea of what an entrepreneur is like someone that can come up with multiple streams of income. I mean, I know that's not like the definition, like
Hmm.
you were talking about like the actual definition of it, but I feel that truly to be an entrepreneur is, if you've got that entrepreneurial spirit, no matter how well something might be working for you, you're always looking for something else.
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't matter how it doesn't matter how well or not well eBay's going. I mean, at the moment, eBay's being terrible, by the way, guys. I don't know how it is for you, but oh my god, it's bad. It just seems to have just gone south. But I feel that if you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter how well you may be doing at a certain business, you're always going to be looking at a different business model or adding another business model, adding different streams of income, just because
Yeah.
I feel that it's the spirit of it is that you're always looking for that opportunity. So,
I
you
think
know,
that certainly is a common thread with entrepreneurs is that they keep trying to find something new, something better, and adding to their kind of portfolio of ideas, I guess. But I mean, actually, I did look up the definition, and it's basically somebody who is looking for a new business idea and is prepared to invest their time and effort and risk. A lot of the definitions that I looked at on different websites were about risk, and it's about being able to take that risk in order to try and make money.
And
So
looking for new business ideas. There you go. Looking for, because the thing is, if you don't, if say for example, like a lot of people in the chat and like myself, you start off with eBay, and then there's a certain amount of risk involved in buying inventory, isn't there? I mean, we were talking about, when you take a chance and spend a lot on a single item even, or you might spend a lot on a bunch of items, like in a haul or whatever. That's still some form, I suppose, of risk, but it's not a new business, and it means that you've found something that works and you're sticking with it. And I feel that scares me. I want to kind of like,
well, if I'll tell you what, if the definition is that you come up with a new business idea and take some risks, most of us buying and selling on eBay can't qualify because
that's how I feel.
Thousands of us doing it. A lot of people out there have found it through YouTube or through other things, and it's not that it's a copycat, but it's not a new idea, is it? No. But in saying that, because we had a brief conversation last night, what you did recently with the RC was to spot an opportunity and capitalize on it. That's entrepreneurship.
It doesn't feel like it though.
Within eBay, within selling on eBay, you had to go, okay, I can see money there. Other people aren't taking this opportunity. I'm going to do it. That, in a nutshell, to me, is entrepreneurship. I think
in the microcosm of eBay, I suppose, yes, you could put that across, but it doesn't feel like it. I think it feels, I don't know. I think it needs to be, I think it's just, I understand that spotting a new idea is an important key to it, and then obviously taking the risk, and there's obviously risk involved when you like buy in bulk. But I feel that it's all too samey. I think an entrepreneur can adjust to very different things, or be able to do different things. So for example, when you guys had a brick and mortar shop, that's very different to what you're doing now. So I would say that more, you need to be on that kind of change. So for me, even if I added FBA and built that up, I still wouldn't necessarily feel like, because it feels like I'm just doing what other people are doing, which there's nothing wrong with that. And I know
you mentioned that we used to have brick and mortar stores.
Yeah,
that's as old as like Roman times. It's like nothing new there. What we were doing was nothing new. In fact, we came out of retail working for Richard Branson. Basically said, this is how this works. We're going to do it for ourselves. Nothing entrepreneurial in your kind of definition of it.
Yeah, then what is it that I want then?
I don't know. I was going to ask you, so what would make you happy in this little entrepreneur world?
I think
something that's never been heard of, a new widget that you've designed.
I think what comes through is, I think this is just something that I think I'm finally realizing. Like, I thought working for myself would get rid of that whole hopping from job to job part of me. And whilst I think that even though I've completely don't ever want to go back to being employed, I'm still happy being self-employed. I think that wanting to do different things is still with me. I think I think I'm gonna, I don't know. I feel like I want to just do something else as well now.
At the same time as wanting to do different things, we've talked about, smashing FBA, and you're like reticent about really doing that. And then we've talked about merch. Neither of us are capitalizing on merch. It's like, so do you really want to do other things?
I don't know. Maybe I just say I do. I don't.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah,
it's
conundrum.
I think you feel like you should be doing other things. Maybe you feel like you should be doing other things. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what some people in the chat think about this, because you know what it is, I mean, for example, a great example, that the couple that I'm going to be talking to tomorrow, actually, Jay Fullman and Callum G in the chat. I think what got me thinking about this topic as well was they said that they had seen yours and I's videos, our tat chats, and that's what got them into reselling.
Yeah.
And yet it feels now that they've kind of just gone and they've taken merch and made it so super successful. I don't want to jinx them, by the way, I'm touchwood. Like, but you know what I mean? It feels like they saw that our videos and thought, oh, you know, we want to do reselling, and they you know, it was very kind of them to say it was actually watching the videos that got them to believe in that they could do it. But they've gone and done it, but with their own.
But
They've made a success of
on the
merch.
thread of being an entrepreneur, they've just taken ideas and inspiration from others and gone and done the same thing and slightly changed it.
Yeah.
So is that entrepreneurial? I think it is, because you still have to have the wherewithal to say, I can do that, I can spot that, but then it's not a new idea. I don't
No, see,
In the chat, talking about chat, actually, Indie Chick says,
yeah,
an entrepreneur takes risks and sees opportunities when others don't, like the RC Hall. So you see, going back to that, I think on an entrepreneurial level, that is it for me. That sums it up. It really does, because you could have seen that and thought, oh, there's money to be made, and still not taken it. But and it was a huge risk. You said at the time,
yeah, well,
a lot
yeah.
of money, especially, you know,
Well, we had to take a working capital to,
you had to borrow that money
yeah,
to invest in something that you didn't really know was going to pay off. That sums up for me what an entrepreneur is. Every time that we've started a business or set up a shop, it's every time it's been a huge risk, and we have risked everything financially every time we set up a new business, and that kind of sums it up for me. It's the risk.
yeah. I think maybe, yeah. I think something that resonates with me. I remember watching Batman: The Dark Knight when the Joker says, like Heath Ledger's Joker says, like, I'm like a dog chasing tires. Like, I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one. And I think sometimes maybe I've got that kind of syndrome where I'm always just chasing shiny ideas or something. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe, like, because hearing what you've said makes a lot of sense, and you know what Indie Chick said there does make sense. So I feel okay. Your guys' logic is stacking up, but I don't know. Maybe it's a feeling. It's a feeling more than anything, I suppose. For me, like, I don't know what it will take for me to feel entrepreneurial, like, to, you know, to be entrepreneurial. I mean, I even felt like a fraud when I put it on my Facebook page. I'm not an entrepreneur, am I? But I thought that's the closest thing I could choose.
But I think the biggest element in any definition, or a big element of what an entrepreneur is risk. When you take that into account, what you guys did about a year or so ago was pack up, you know, Bet quit her job, and you both threw yourselves into something that you weren't sure it was going to work out.
No.
So that's a definition of risk, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose that was quite a big risk.
So on that side of it, maybe the business plan you were going to follow had been done before. There was nothing that new about that, but you were still taking the risk on a very personal level to follow what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
So you are.
I mean, Lonnie says entrepreneur is like a sexy word, isn't it? And you know, I think there is some, I don't know, like something attached to it, isn't there? There is like a connotation, right? Like,
it's an appealing thing to call yourself, for sure.
And it's a French word, isn't it? So it sounds
sexy.
Yeah, there is that to it.
There's a few comments about
Peter Cummins actually says it's a badge some people want. Why not be satisfied with doing something you enjoy and being happy? See, when you put it like that, Peter, I have to say it does kind of shut me up completely, because I'm like, actually, yes, you know, I'm totally happy with what we're doing and enjoy it. I mean, this kind of stuff, by the way, guys, really doesn't even enter Beck's head. Beck just is so matter of fact with these things. It doesn't bother her. It'll be me going like, do you think we're entrepreneurs? You know, it'll be me having these daft kind of, you know, she's like, whatever's here. You know? She's like, you know.
I've just gone back in the chat to find one that I saw. Shel Staruni said, I think all successful eBay sellers are entrepreneurs, as everyone needs to keep adapting and finding new avenues to survive. So on a small level, you do have to kind of keep reinventing the wheel to stay, you know, to keep up with it. So, but within eBay, that is, I think she's right. On some level, you have to have that mindset of spotting each little opportunity and changing things, dropping things that don't work, and moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she and Indie Chick there says as well, like, I don't really care, to be honest, either way. I'm just glad I don't have to get up at 6 a.m. to scrape the ice off my car because I have to commute to a stress city job. And that in itself, there is obviously something to that. And guys, I just want to say I am completely in that camp as well. I absolutely love the fact that I'm self-employed. Like, I absolutely just, that for me is insanely positive, and it just feels great whenever I think about that, with all its stresses, etc., that come with it. Yeah, I completely do like that. And Daisy May says the definition is person who sets up a business or businesses taking on financial risks in the hope of profit. Anyone who is a registered business is. Anyone who isn't. So really kind of
yeah, but I mean it depends, because somebody could set up and register as a business
and then not do anything.
Just blatantly copying an existing business and doing it. If you set up a butcher shop, it's not entrepreneurial in the sense of that it's not new and it's all been done before, but you are still taking the risk. So the risk element is there.
I think what's coming out of this is, I think the key is you can't. I think it doesn't sit right with me maybe being called an entrepreneur full stop, because you're not being entrepreneurial all the time. I suppose the real magic is when you are, like people have mentioned, when you're actually able to adapt. So you're going to have, as a good business person, I suppose, you're going to have entrepreneurial moments maybe. So, for example, that moment when you spot an opportunity, or that moment when you spot like a chance to set up a new business or something. So you might have moments, because I did feel pretty good at the time of getting, I think if you'd asked me on like the day after buying that RC hall, I suppose I would have said, yeah, I'm super entrepreneur, like I'm all entrepreneur. And then because that's all done now, because that moment has passed, because it's more about a moment, isn't it? Like you said, it's like seeing something and taking a chance when others haven't, and you can only do that when that opportunity exists. So not to get like too kind of airy fairy about it, but it's more about a moment than like a constant.
Yeah, well, it's maybe not so much the moment, but it's about the idea, the conception, isn't it, of coming up with something, figuring out how to do it, and then having the balls to put, to risk your own money, time, and effort.
Yeah, I mean, David McGregor says you call yourself a businessman and others call you an entrepreneur. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, there is that side to it. Great chat, Nick and Z. Very interesting, says Peter Ray. Oh, that's right at the bottom of the chat. I've gotten right down. Spondy Man says, I felt like an entrepreneur when I was earning more money than I was when working for the man. So yeah, I suppose it's a movable feast in a way, aren't they? Like when you'll feel that way, and then I suppose once you start earning, I suppose when you start looking to improve, or you start looking to achieve more than you've already achieved, then you have to find that entrepreneurial kind of spark to get you to that next level.
I think there are different levels as well. I think Lonnie mentioned back there about Tesla and Elon Musk, or whatever his name is, and like Jeff Bezos, for example, with Amazon.
Yeah,
they were true on and are true trailblazers. They're charting a course that hasn't been taken before. I mean, when you think about Amazon and what they've done for online retail,
yeah,
and they, when Andrea worked for them, they still hadn't made a penny profit. They've been going for, I don't know, five years or so at that point, and that they were projected to get into profit in another 5 years from when she left. I think it's just crazy how it works. They were turning over masses of money, but they were reinvesting and in infrastructure and everything so much that the moment they started making money was so far ahead, and that just blows my mind. But that's how big business operates a lot of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose I think that trailblazer element has to do something with it, doesn't it? Like
something genuinely new, something.
Yeah, and in that sense, then I feel comfortable saying no, I'm not. Then,
Yeah.
because I don't think there's anything.
Yeah, on that level, most of us really
Yeah.
aren't, because we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're
Yeah.
buying and selling stuff. We're just using a platform, or we're looking at different stuff to buy and sell. It's not reinventing the wheel.
Yeah. So I think that for me is where it kind of I'm comfortable with that kind of analogy. You know, like the true brand new idea, or the true kind of market, kind of new to the market type thing. You know.
Mm.
So in that sense, yeah, then we can just be like happy in our own little world. That's what I think. Speaking of which, something weird happened to me today.
Go on.
Like, not really related to the topic as such, but I had something returned back to me from China. It was something I'd sold like months and months ago, so I'm pretty sure there's no recourse. But do you remember me showing you this Sony Discman that I really liked?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came back. Royal
Oh,
Mail just dropped it off today.
but the buyer hasn't contacted you?
No. And it just says on the ticket, on the thing, unclaimed, and that was it.
No way. And that was,
Yeah.
how much was that?
Well, I think I sold it for about 80 or 100 quid because it's faulty. It doesn't work. If it worked, it'd be worth more, but yeah, it doesn't work and it's hard to get the parts. But yeah, unclaimed. It's been such a long time. I couldn't even find the
I've had that once or twice.
yeah, the
When
completed
things
listing.
randomly come back, and I've just resold them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing I can now. I don't know if it's a bit weird.
Who spends 80 odd quid on
And
something,
then
gets it shipped halfway around the world, and then doesn't go and pick it up? And you'd think they'd have at least gone, oh, where's that broken Discman? It's not an everyday item, is it?
no.
Unless they buy loads and repair them and they've just lost track.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a bit weird, isn't it? That's what I thought as well. I was like, wow, it's just unclaimed.
Hopefully it's a win.
Yeah,
That's a bizarre one.
exactly. All right. Going through some of the comments, Andy Robinson says, when people tell me they're an entrepreneur, I switch off and just nod in response. When I see people proving they are good, honest grafters, I'm genuinely interested and want to see more.
Yep. Nothing substitutes for hard work. And that's the other thing that every entrepreneur that is a successful entrepreneur, to quote that word, the common theme will be that they've worked their arse off to get where they are.
Yeah.
If you think of any of the famous names, they work hard and they still work hard usually. You know, when they've become million or billionaires, they're still up at the crack of dawn working. And that's a common thread, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
Especially if you are on the cutting edge and what you've got is new, untried, and you've got to sell that idea and convince people of something new. That's hard work. What we do, going back to what we do, it is nothing new. You know what I mean? It's just,
but it still involves hard work.
It still involves hard work, but we're just buying and selling stuff.
Yeah, in different ways.
It's like going back to merch.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic platform that I said earlier. I checked and my account is still existing, so we're going to have a good push at that maybe in the new year. But the real entrepreneur there is whoever worked for Amazon and came up with the idea and designed it all and set it up. I mean, actually, they didn't come up with print on demand. That's been going for years.
They've repackaged it.
So they've just taken something, rebranded it, and pushed it.
But I suppose the people that are successful on there. So, for example, Jay Fullman that we're going to be talking to tomorrow. Another plug for that. She's obviously able to spot from here what the right opportunities in terms of what will sell on a t-shirt. Yep. So I suppose you could argue to some level there's entrepreneurial spirit in that, at least, to be able to actually spot what the bandwagon is. It's very easy to jump onto the bandwagon, but to be able to spot what it is in the first place is a talent, I suppose.
Definitely. Peter says that's what we are, just a cog in the company, i.e. Amazon, eBay, etc. Pretty much. Yeah, in one sense.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about chats, I believe it's Thursday. We've got some guests coming. I might as well say who it is. I think everyone's guessed anyway. We've got Steve and Steph coming on to our channel for a hangout, and I think they are really pushing the boundaries because they do buy and sell on eBay a little bit, but mainly they're jumping on these brand new apps that are appearing and just caning it, and they're just selling this stuff out of their house locally, meeting people.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love their business model. It's so vibrant and exciting. And
I like the fact that they're in the car, just going, picking stuff up and delivering it to people, and meeting them. And they've got regulars now that way as well. They've got like regulars who just.
I think I watched them the other day, yesterday or the day before, where they went to sell something to a regular customer, and this regular customer bought their friend, and then they were like, well,
they had to go back, and I think we might have just. I was watching that today, actually. I think that was
But I don't know. I was watching some of their videos recently, and I just felt like a bit of a dinosaur still just doing eBay with some shelves of stock. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, there's a part of me that wanted to just do.
And they were talking about how, like, in 4 hours at the flea market, they did okay for themselves as well, didn't they? And it was just.
Well, that was just selling off the crap they had left from the. Amazing.
So I think they've been on a chat just recently with oh god, Golden Finger Picker.
Oh yeah, they were talking about. I haven't seen that one yet.
No, neither have I. I've seen it come up on my feed. I've got to watch that as well. So, but yeah,
the analogy of or the question of, are you an entrepreneur? I mean, you could relate that to YouTube again, because here we are on YouTube, and there's an element of giving it a go and trying and seeing an opportunity there. But the real entrepreneurs are the guys that created the platform back in, when was that, 2005 or something. That's where the real spark was. The rest of us are just benefiting from that idea, from that entrepreneurial spirit that when it hadn't been done before, everyone was probably looking at them thinking, what, video sharing? What? That's never been done before. That won't work. Can you imagine the amount of people that said to them, why are you investing your time and effort in this?
Yeah.
Not going anywhere. And to be a true entrepreneur, I think you've got to hear all of that and go, doing it anyway.
Yeah. And still do it. Yeah. I mean, Heather says, I refer to myself as an upcycler/recycler. That's quite a nice way to think. I suppose it's just a damn label, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, God, it's just, why have I wound myself up about it so much? Like, like, seriously, like, what? Why did it? Because it pops up now and then in my head, like, I suppose when I'm, just asking whether I'm like, is there what else I can be doing? Am I taking advantage of as many opportunities as I can? Oh God, the phone's going. Don't worry about it. Yes, it will stop. We can't get to it at the moment because we don't really use our phone. So I'm guessing it's just going to be some like sales call, because we actually don't ever use our landline. So
we hardly do now.
Yeah, I don't even know the number. Like, I only have it because the only way I can have broadband is to actually have, you've got to have broadband you've got to have their line to have the broadband.
Klaus has just commented,
yeah,
I do consider myself an entrepreneur. Apparently the outside world, from my view in the basement, tend to think reselling old stuff on the internet is not seen as entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I like to think I am. I think I think in my head I just call myself a trier. I keep trying. I've tried so many things. Some have worked out, some haven't.
Yeah, I think that's the key, isn't it? To be willing to always try different things out to earn income, basically. I mean, the bottom line is, even when you go back to the trailblazers that we talk about, etc., the final goal has always been to earn some kind of income, either for your company or for yourself. So, for example, you talked about the people that would have come up with the idea for merch on Amazon, or the people that came up with the YouTube video sharing idea, etc. Whatever it is, the bottom line is eventually it leads to income, doesn't it? So
absolutely.
And if as long as you're always looking for new ways of earning income, I suppose. So maybe that's the way I'll look at it. So as long as I'm looking for new ways to earn income, and you could even do that on, I suppose you could even just say, I'm always looking for new ways of earning income on eBay. So you could just do
I
eBay.
think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we started this conversation, I was trying to say to you that there are elements of what we do within our businesses that are entrepreneurial, as in we've got to spot an opportunity and maximize it. You know, whether that's sourcing or how you sell something or exploring a new niche. There's part of that entrepreneurial spirit in there, but we are not reinventing the wheel. We didn't come up with the platform.
Yeah.
We in a very small way, I think we all are, or we all have a bit of that.
Steve and Steph have actually popped into the chat as well, by the way, Nick.
Ah, fantastic. Good
Yeah.
to see you guys. I kind of let it slip that we're having a hangout soon. So that's out there now.
Brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it because like their videos are so they both look so much, you know, like they love what they're doing so much. It really comes out.
They're great on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm kind of secretly addicted to their videos.
David McGregor says the rewards for working for yourself is the rare holiday and walking around with a big grin on your face, thinking this is why I work so hard and all the rewards are mine, not the boss's.
Yep, that's
Definitely.
the payoff.
Definitely.
Lonnie says, Nick, you've opened a lot of different businesses and are always looking for new things. Definitely entrepreneurial. Yeah, that side of it, I think, you know, I might qualify.
Southwest Seller says it's the landlord chasing up the rent. They could just come across. They live across the road. I think they'd be knocking at the door.
Actually, Karen, isn't it Karen who does those amazing little console covers that she makes herself?
Yes.
There's an entrepreneurial idea. I'm not going to say she wasn't the first person to ever do it, but there's a lot more in that than there is just picking up something and selling it. You know, you've got to design it. You've got to come up with the fabrics and then find a way of selling it online. There's a lot in there. So what Karen is doing is
definitely
more entrepreneurial than what we're currently doing.
Definitely.
Oh, Stephen, Steph, thanks for the shout out, guys. No worries. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Stephen Steph's channel, I think you can click on the little icon in the chat.
You can, yeah.
If not, just search Resale Killers. I'm going to ask them all about this Killers thing. I'm not sure what's going on there. Anyway, I did say that I might share with you an idea that I've had for actually a long time, and I haven't shared it on my channel yet, and I'm going to try and get it kicked off next year. And this is a strange one. Whether this is entrepreneurial or not, I'm not sure, because I don't know that it's ever going to make me any money. Okay. The idea came about because I'm a huge pub fan. I love traditional English pubs, and they are suffering. They are closing at a rate, you know, at the moment, I don't know how many thousands are closing a year. We've lost 5 in Hitchin in the last 10 years in one small town. And I wanted to come up with an idea that would encourage people to visit pubs that they don't visit or they haven't visited and keep doing so. So that the idea that I actually came up with, it's about 10 years ago, and I spoke to lots of local pubs about it and had a lot of really positive feedback, but I was so busy with this is still when we had the gaming shop. I just didn't have the time and energy and effort to put into getting this idea set up. So it's just sat in the background. So, but I'm going to start it next year. And it's basically a kind of glorified interactive treasure hunt thing. And the places you have to visit are pubs. And I'm going to go into it in more detail when it starts. But there is a revenue stream in it because there are these little postcards that you buy. But in order to complete the postcard, you need a rubber stamp. And you can only find that in the pub. And then there's a whole series of these cards that will be available. And it gets people out there. It's going to be like casual pub goers, hikers, all of these people. And then there's going to be series. And it's something that I can expand out from Hitchin. Hopefully in the future, there'll be thousands and thousands of these cards that will be collectible little cards with a picture of the pub. And then there's going to be a blank pub sign. The stamp that you get when you visit the pub will be the pub sign, and it will complete the card. But the caveat is, because this whole thing is to benefit pubs. In order to, it's free to play for anyone. You do have to buy the cards. That's my revenue stream. In order to stamp the card in the pub, you have to be a customer. So everybody that gets sent to these pubs because they're hunting for these rubber stamps has to at least buy a drink. If this idea takes off in any way, shape or form, it will put thousands, if not millions of pounds into pubs that wouldn't have been there
That
otherwise.
is, and that's actually a really epic idea because it's like, see that it's out of the. I'd never think of anything like that in any way. I just wouldn't.
Well, the other thing
And
is
and
the
it's
idea.
yeah.
The idea
No, no, go.
came about because I wanted to challenge myself to come up with a business idea that had no overheads, no staff. Well, there are slight overheads because I have to get the cards printed and manufactured. But once you have that, they're like they cost pennies to produce. And once it's up and running, you know, the pub looks after the stamp. They sell the cards for you. They sell cards for other pubs, so that then sends the players off to other pubs, and it runs itself. That's the idea.
Yeah,
So long term, if it took off, I could all my effort would be into expanding it, designing and printing more cards, and expanding the idea. The overheads and the work involved would never get any bigger. But there you go. In all likelihood, it won't make me any money, but it will benefit local businesses.
it's a
So,
great idea though. I mean, Jane Callum says great idea. Nick sounds like letterboxing, which is like a huge.
oh my god. Okay, it's totally inspired by letterboxing. I was a huge letterbox fan in the 90s. I've got little books full of the stamps, and if you've done it, Jane Callum, that you'll know that all the pubs on Dartmoor all have a stamp, and they're the best ones to find because you can have a pint while you're there and sit in the warm. And I used to have to drive like 5 hours down to Dartmoor to go and play this daft game, which is essentially running around on Dartmoor, finding boxes that are hidden in certain locations and taking a stamp. But there's no revenue stream attached to it, and I've kind of twisted it to help support local businesses and take a revenue stream out of it.
And Daisy May says sounds like geocaching tagging.
It does, but I've never got into that because I find that so random, and there's no kind of theme that brings it all together. With this, it's all about the pubs, and you get a little collection of printed cards. I basically designed something I want to play. That's the idea.
Yeah,
And if I like it, somebody else will.
I think that's fantastic. I really do. I think that's like it speaks to obviously something that you're interested in, pubs, you know. It's good. But yeah, just the actual kind of the thought that you've put into it is, you know, that's epic. I've got to say that it sounds like something that would be actually so much fun to do because like you said, and the way it's almost self-perpetuating as well. Like it will just
the kind of what excites me is that these stamps will be in the pub, so that the locals will all find out about it, or the landlord will talk to his regulars who come in, and then they will find, oh, there's loads of other pubs in here. They'll buy a load more cards, and it will encourage them to go out and visit pubs they've perhaps never been to. And so every pub will be bringing people into the game, and then kind of spreading the wealth and getting people up off their asses out there and exploring the countryside and finding these pubs that we are, like I said before, we are losing these places on a daily basis. When we drove down to Kent the other day with Andrea for my birthday, we were passing pub after pub that had been turned into an Indian restaurant, that had been turned into flats. And you never get those places back. And that sense of community, I just love pubs. And I think they are vitally important for social communities. I've really got on my soapbox now. Apologies for that.
No, definitely. It's good though because it is important. You're right, especially when it's small towns and things. You realise. I mean, I've never really. It's never been something that's been important to me because of where I grew up and stuff. It just wasn't a big deal. But you can see that when you come out to like these smaller towns and villages and things, you suddenly realise like, you know, how important they are because because it's not just, you know, people forget sometimes that it's not just about going there to have a drink. Sometimes a lot of events are held there, like, you know, local, you know, weekly things that people can look forward to. So for example, people will go there to play like dominoes or whatever, I don't know, whatever it may be, but it's there's
for social I mean, I go down once a week and play poker with a bunch of people that otherwise I would have no contact with. And the pub provides that social communal area that's accessible to everyone. And we're just losing loads of them. And the other thing that frustrates me is we're losing that history. These places have sometimes 300, 400, 500 years of history, and when that pub's gone, it's gone. You know, and
Yeah.
it's yeah. So that's something that I like to say. I've had the idea nearly a decade now, and I never had the time or the ability to kind of take time out of my business and put a lot of time and effort into this, which is
Yeah.
needed. And now we're at a financial level where I can do that. So that's the plan. I'm just scrolling back. There was a really nice comment. Roy said, "Hi guys, your tap chats and vlogs over the last 3 months have helped me no end to start as a business seller. Just hit my first £1,000 of turnover." Fantastic.
Fantastic. Definitely.
Um,
And Steve and Steph say, I love the idea of helping small businesses. Money is not always the most important return on your investment.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I have a passion that will make this happen, hopefully. And whether it makes me any money, I've kind of accepted it's not important to me, that part of it. But if it does catch on and enough people play it, it will scale up, and all of those £1 postcards will add up.
I mean, Jane Callum says, I imagine it would be popular with foreign tourists in London and other cities. They still see pubs as novel British thing, and I think they'd love it. Definitely. I think that's where it could really flourish as well.
Exactly, and because you would have these cards that all have they have a unique number, so it's going to be, once you put numbers on things, people want to get.
That's
I know I'm a kind of recovering collector. I know what it's like. And then I imagine a time when I've spread this across the UK, and so you go, I don't know, you visit Stratford for the day, and you think, while I'm here, I'm going to pop in a few pubs and get some cards. Can you imagine if I could get it to that scale? So no matter where you are in the UK, you think, I'm going to go and do some pub stamp collecting, and away you go.
Exactly. And Joel Newman says, it's always amazing when you find a new thing that gives you that excitement and buzz. I say, go for it. You never know where it might take you.
Yeah. Well, it's got to the point. I've had this rattling around in my head for that long. I need to just get it out there. Whether it's a complete flop and nobody cares, I'm past it now. I don't care.
But it just shows it's so important to have that passion, though. I mean, and I think that in a way that does really nicely fit in with this entrepreneurial chat. It's not, about whether you are or whether you aren't. And I think it's having those kinds of ideas and the commitment to these ideas, and you can apply that to something more simple, like, starting a new income stream or something. You've got to have passion and commitment for it, and you're not going to see results straight away whatever you do. I think that's one thing that I suppose that is quite poignant to mention, especially with Roy's comment in the chat as well, that you can't immediately expect results. It's great that he's gotten his first K of turnover, but he's got, he's now at the beginning of a journey, just like I'm at the beginning of my journey, where you've got to put in all this work and all this effort before you start seeing a return. And I think it will be the same with this idea of yours. You're going to have to put in all this hard work up front, aren't you? In the hope that it will succeed and, achieve what you want, which is more business for the pubs.
Absolutely. Oh, Quillen has super chatted, actually.
Yeah.
Hi, mate, how are you doing? It says, Nick, come to the USA. We have tons of pubs, a couple of pints.
That must be his.
We are hoping to go to the US. We may be doing it next year.
Superb.
So yeah.
Oh, that would be epic.
I don't think we're going to. We're probably doing the Disney thing because we've been promising Ellen since she was like this high.
Oh.
She's now like nearly as tall as me. So yeah, we are hoping to do the Disney thing. People keep mentioning Scrabble, and I've just realised why. Can you see those?
Oh wow! Oh my god! How many?
There's 10 there. We used to do a lot of crafting with it, and we used to, well, I say we, Andrew used to make earrings and necklaces and what were the one, tie pins and that sort of stuff. So we used to kind of hoard them. I've just listed all of those because we're not doing it anymore. And a box this sort of big with 1,200 Scrabble tiles in, I've just listed for 50 quid to get rid of it. But yeah, it's time to get rid.
That is crazy.
If anyone actually knows any crafters that make stuff with Scrabble tiles, get them to message me, because I've got 1,000 Scrabble tiles there, 100 in each one, and then 1,200 more, so 2,200. If anyone wants them. You're welcome. Not for free. You can buy them. Okay.
Duffer Cat one says, "Cool, I'm an hour from Disney."
Oh, which Disney though? Because Florida, I think. 'Cause I mentioned Florida. We've done. Andrew and I did the Anaheim, California one last time we were over there.
I've never been. Never been
It's
to the
cool. I mean, I'm
States.
not a real Disney fan, but it's an epic place to go.
I just want to go to the States anywhere. I think I'd just love to go to New York and just go to the delis and just eat. I just want to eat massive pastrami sandwiches.
Yeah, you would love it. It is.
Yeah, I just
New York.
eat.
New York blows your mind. Just wandering around New York, it's just like.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Yeah, I just want to.
We were wandering around. I remember a long time. This wasn't with Andrew. This was when I worked over there for a summer once, and we went to New York a couple of times. And we were wandering around trying to find the Empire State Building. Think, well, that'll be easy. You'll just see it. But because all the buildings are like 20 stories or whatever, you can't see it. And we just couldn't find the place. So we ended up getting on one of those bus tours, and it took us there. Anyway, yeah, it's mad. Right, I just saw another cool message from Nick and Andrew. Can we have a moderator in the chat? I don't know what that's about. I'm struggling to keep up with the chats, guys. Sorry. There was a comment, another one. I can actually make people moderator, can't I?
Yeah.
There you go.
Beck was in there earlier. She might have.
I've given a spanner to Peter. I'll give one to Lonnie while I'm here. So if there's any dodgy stuff going on.
Yeah.
There you go. Where were we? There's a comment.
Peter Cummins says it's great hearing all these wacky ideas Nick has. Wish I could come up with some crazy plan. Is that a compliment or what, Peter?
You haven't heard half of them. My head's full of this stuff. You should come in here for a while and see what it's like. Yeah, Roy said again, it's been really great for me as I have early onset dementia and it helps to keep the cogs whizzing around. So thanks to everybody. That was Roy who said earlier that helped inspire him to start reselling. So fantastic, Roy. I'm really glad it's working out for you. Okay.
That is.
Says your idea would be ideal for youth hostels, backpacker hostels. Yeah, I mean, there's within this idea, there's other plans. I need to start somewhere. And it's interesting that somebody already mentioned London. If I can find a kind of formula that works for this, that's scalable, I have plans for London as well. Because I mean, I'm not far from London here. So yeah. Jay and Callum say it's a great time for Ellen to go to Florida. I never went as a kid, but went a few years ago and loved it. She's old enough to fully appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, she's 16 now, and she's kind of had a Disney resurgence. She's watching all the films again, and I think it's perfect because we can go and she will really get the most out of it. So yeah. Oh, there's another super chat.
It's a $5 one from Lonnie.
Krillin. Oh,
from Krillin, sorry.
Thanks, mate. I don't mean to be political. Oh, here we go. If you went to an Irish pub, in brackets IRA, would they chase you out? Is that feud over? I would never go to a pub where Lonnie lives. I think that issue is still an issue in Ireland and Northern Ireland with Protestant and Catholic, as in they have segregation. But here in the UK, I wouldn't say it's over, but that when they were bombing the UK finished a long time ago. It's mainly in the 80s, 70s and 80s. It doesn't really rear its head that the troubles over here, does it? Not the Irish troubles. So yeah, good question though.
An indie chick says, I don't know why, but I keep on thinking of the Alan Partridge sketch, Monkey Tennis. That's so funny when he's coming up with ideas for a show. And he comes up with the worst ideas. He comes up with a bunch of really terrible.
The guy just sort of bats him off, and
he just smell my cheese at the end.
Smell my cheese.
That's it.
I need an Alan Partridge box set. I've got none of that on DVD.
Alan Partridge is just that, and when he's filming that commercial in the barge, and someone throws a cow on him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm under a cow." It's just genius. It's the funniest show, I think.
For Americans watching right now, like Alan Partridge, who?
Alan Partridge is just one of the funniest shows.
Just search it on YouTube. Actually, do Alan Partridge best of or something.
My mate threw that cow off the bridge as Peter Cummins. No way, Peter.
Oh, really?
No way.
Wow. Mr. Sadie, Nick, do you know where I can find a Scrabble game? I have a couple somewhere hidden. Do you want some? I'll do you a deal on the lot. How's that? Can't say fairer than that.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, how are we doing for time? Oh, not too bad.
Wow, 6:53. Wow.
Steve,
no, he's telling the truth. His mate worked on Partridge. He never shuts up about it. I'd never shut up about it. Come on, that's one of the best TV shows ever.
That's the best anecdote ever at a dinner party. Well, I threw a cow on Alan Partridge.
Oh, I'm under a cow.
Fantastic.
Lynn, I'm not driving a mini metro. That's it. It's just brilliant. It's such an insanely good show. Honestly, it's just, if you haven't seen it, Steven Steph, you've got to watch it. Just YouTube it. The humor is just insanely funny. Just fantastic. When he talks,
we're approaching the hour, so if we get slightly back on track,
yes.
And just kind of summarize, we started, if you just joined us, we've got 138 people that somehow stuck around. We were talking about, are we entrepreneurs, and what is an entrepreneur essentially? And I don't know, in conclusion, I think on some level we are, because we're doing our thing. We're taking that financial risk, if there is any, and the risk of perhaps leaving our job and doing this without really knowing whether it's going to work out. So on that level, I think we have that entrepreneurial spirit. I think true entrepreneurs, as we touched on, are trailblazers who come up with something completely new, completely different, and just go for it, which I think is another level entrepreneur.
I think when it comes to the majority of us, I suppose you could say that entrepreneur is a nicer way of saying opportunist. Because opportunist sometimes has a negative connotation, but you've got to, I think being an opportunist is, unless it's being a thief, being an opportunist is a good thing to be, because it's something that I suppose does have that entrepreneurial spirit that people talk about, because it's so important to always be looking for these new ideas, because it keeps things fresh. I mean, I suppose one way of thinking about it is, sometimes when it comes to making a YouTube video, and Nick, you'll know this more than me because you've done more videos on this than me, but when you're making a video, one of the thoughts that used to come to my head is, oh, but that's already been done. I'm sure so-and-so's made a video about this, or I'm sure so-and-so's made a video about this. But it's getting into your head that whilst your video idea is already been done by lots and lots of people, it's never been done by you, and that's what makes it new, and that's what makes it unique and fresh. So and I think when you start believing that, and when you start understanding that actually that anything that you do, it's the first time it's been done, because yes, someone else has already done this, but it's the first time you're doing it.
And it's all about what you bring to the table. And I think going back to Steve and Steph, I mean, we were saying that we're getting addicted to their videos. It's because that they bring so much of themselves to it. And we all do. We all have a way of presenting. We all have our own personality. And that's what you have to think. And you can apply that to business. You will have a way of doing what you do. You know, and you started out by watching videos and started, but you now do it your way. I don't do things how you do, and you don't do things how most people do. And that's how it should be. You bring your own take to it.
Yeah. Definitely. I think that's the way to look at it. Stu Mandry says, I like to see myself as an immortal profiteer. Wow.
No, immoral.
Immoral. I was thinking immortal.
Immortal would be even better.
Yeah, I think that would be like, wow, that's some, you know, like mumra type stuff going on.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I think we've had a good attempt at talking about what's an entrepreneur.
I think so. It is a really confusing subject sometimes, and I suppose it's just a question that you can, you know, that you can just wrestle with now and then, and it's just nice to kind of air it out. It's been one of those chats, I think, where we've just, you come on and blah.
Yeah, well, I think it's good that we don't actually plan these a lot, because we come up with a vague topic and then we just go, oh, we've actually got to talk about this for an hour now. But I think the proof is in the pudding. If I can manage to get my idea off the ground next year, we'll see how much of an entrepreneur I actually am. There's a challenge.
That would be epic, though. That really will be.
Okay. Well, on that note, thanks for popping in, guys. Thanks so much for your questions. Thank you, Krillin, as ever, for your generous super chats. That blows my mind every week. Thank you, Zaheer, for chewing the fat with me.
No, definitely. It's been really good. Really enjoyed it. It's always interesting to talk about, you know, just different things.
Yeah, whatever comes up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. This chat itself is, you know, we could be like, oh, we've done it now. You know, but you can do it.
We'll do another one next week.
Exactly.
And, as Zaheer was saying, so tomorrow, do you know what time you're going to go live?
7:30, guys. Yeah, 7:30. It's Jay and Callum. I think they're in the chat as well. So we're going to be talking to them. They don't have a YouTube channel, I think, well, apart from what they've set up there. But yeah, we'll be having a chat with them, especially about their FBA, so merch by Amazon results. If you haven't seen, if you guys aren't already, join our chat group on Facebook, and they post in there regularly, and they've really certainly opened my eyes to being able to achieve. It's kind of reminded me of when I saw your videos, Nick. I was like, you made it real that you can do it here, the whole reselling thing.
So I was literally miles away reading.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, it was just reminded me that it was like, you know, when
you out, then I'm doing what Beck does. I completely tuned you.
Oh God, whatever. You can't tune me. I just speak more and more until you come round again. But like, and I was just saying, it reminded me very much, like with Jay and Callum, that when I first saw your videos, you made reselling real for me in a way, because I'd watched the Americans, but I didn't have that final thing. And then you turn up and start saying, yeah, I do this here. And that's what made it real for me. And I'm hoping that obviously when we speak to Jay and Callum tomorrow, in a way, they might have made merch that little bit more real for me, because merch by Amazon just seems so removed because it's like an American thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And now we've got someone in the UK that's able to decipher American culture, and that's not a negative thing, by the way. That's just it's very different. It's very different. So should be fun.
No, I'm looking forward to it. And then we'll have Steve and Steph on. I believe it's Thursday we came up with. We had trouble finding a day that would suit everyone. So so keep your eyes peeled for those.
Busy week, eh?
It is, I know.
That's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday we're back on, and on Sunday. Oh wow.
We might as well just do one every day. We'll never get any work done.
And can I just say, Peter Cummins, oh, rest in peace, Cheggers, by the way. I did have to mention that. Yes, Keith Chegwin passed.
Yeah, I was shocked.
I know, me too. It's just been... I remember him from Big Breakfast. I know it's a bit of a... Talk about going off topic, ending the show.
He used to be up at like 6 in the morning.
He was fantastic. Yeah, he was amazing on Big Breakfast.
I remember him from Naked Darts.
Naked Darts? Wait, is this like live TV or something?
So, wasn't it?
Was it Nick Ferrari was the live TV or something?
Some random channel, wasn't it? Or was it Channel 5 when it started or something like that?
I don't know.
Anyway, for another time. We need to stop waffling. Anyway, thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks as ever, Zaheer.
Yeah.
You see, we're losing viewers by the 100 here. Just walking out, and I don't blame them. Thanks for joining us. Take care, everyone. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.